So welcome back to Sound Bites, the show about good people doing good things in the local food and drink industry. And one of those great people is Sean Myles. So Sean is launching a new business, Annapolis Fine Cheese, but he's been in the industry for a long time. So we'll get into that story, talk about the new cheese company and how it came to be. So welcome, Sean.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so you have been in the industry for a long time, but doing other things, you know, I know you're a researcher, probably came to fame in apples, right?
Yeah.
Doing a lot of work with local in terms of DNA of apples and looking at some of our older varieties. But what inspired you to launch a cheese company?
Yeah, I think, I've always just been, I have a strong food interest, but also, we feel, my wife and I both, as co-founders of the company, feel really strongly about the local food movement. If we don't start eating the things that are grown around us, then that threatens our food security, and really, we just feel culture gets better when people eat the things that are grown around them, and so we want to try to contribute to that.
And speaking of your wife, now you have the great advantage of having one of the Province's best winemakers as a wife, Gina Harverstock, who kind of leads the team at Yost and all the subs of like Gastro Vineyards and Mercator. Does that give you an advantage when you're starting something that has fermentation involved? Or?
Yeah, I mean, Gina is she is the master of liquid comes in one door, high value product comes out the other, and there's a fermentation in between, right? And as a winemaker, it's grapes, and then we had our cider company, the Annapolis Cider Company, and did the cider thing for a while. So this is not all that different. It's local agricultural liquid coming from a farm, right?
Yep.
And you bring it into a facility, and out the other end, you've got to bring something to the consumer that is a premium, enjoyable, value-added product. So,
right.
The system is quite the same. The inputs are a little different.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you also have the secondary advantage of working with a professional cheesemaker. So tell us about how that came to be. How did you? Who is she? And how did you find her? And how's she? What's her input to the business?
So Catherine Keeler is her name, and she grew up in Shelburne. Went over to France, fell in love with cheese. Also fell in love with a guy in France. They came back. And they've, so she learned cheese making and an affinage, so the aging of cheese in France, and came back and was looking for work. And she had previously worked at Blue Harbor that made blue cheese here in the region. And then we happened to come across Catherine and started talking about what her goals were. And she said she'd love to keep making cheese, and the facility became available in Dartmouth. And so we said, let's hit the gas down on this and give this a try. So, and we jumped in.
Amazing. So, and you seem to have a differentiating point to looking at your cheese, and it's in a little tub, so it looks very spreadable. What was the thought process in terms of the style you wanted?
Yeah, it's a good story. So Catherine makes this all the time at home. It's called fromage blanc. We call it terroir. Because we really want it to try to, reflect the region that we come from and capture something about the special Nova Scotia, farms and the region that we're from. And so she makes this at home, and her kids, the kids devour it, the family devours it, and she says it's very simple. We could start with something like this,
And do you have visions? Will this be kind of the long-term vision sticking to this style, or do you have kind of ideas of some other things?
Yeah, I think this is step one of 30.
Okay. Right. You wouldn't be
be
winemakers and scientists if you didn't have a long-term plan, I'm guessing.
I mean, the nice thing about the terroir, it's a fresh lactic cheese, so it's made in a traditional style, very common in France. It's like often eaten at breakfast. Very simple cheese, right? And you just take the milk. I mean, it's the easiest cheese to make in a way. It's a pure lactic ferment, no rennet. You just put the lactic bacteria in. You leave it at room temperature, for 24 hours, and you come back the next day and you scoop it out and you filter it through some cheesecloth, and voila, you've got fresh cheese. And we do it in HRM, so we can have it out to the stores right? Like fresh, really fresh terroir within a couple days of production, right?
Well, you make it sound easy, and maybe it is that easy, but there is a lot of safety and things in place to make sure that you're just not doing this in a bathtub somewhere, right?
No, we're really fortunate that we're inside a facility that's, was previously federally inspected. We're under provincial inspection, but we're on our way to federal inspection too, and it's all set up to be able to make enough product to be able to export outside of the province. Amazing. And so on. Yeah.
So you have two versions. What are the two versions?
Yeah, so the first one is just a sea salt. We use Nova Scotia sea salt in this product, and it's just a straightforward, plain fromage blanc we call terroir, and it goes with everything. Great for cooking. You throw it on your steak. Like, it's the most versatile cheese you've ever tried because you can put it on anything, right? Yep. You can dip a cracker in it, so just like this. You can put it on a cheese board as a standalone item. You can put it on your steak. You can put it with vegetables. Try it with fruit. Put a little bit of like strawberry with it. Anything, like it really goes with everything. So it's very versatile. But what's really nice about it is you can add different things with it. Yeah. Many people are familiar with boursin. Yeah, it's a cheese, spreadable cheese. It's in that style, right? And you can put, and so this one we've done garlic and chive. And we're experimenting now with other flavors. I think by Christmas, no guarantee, but we're looking to put out a truffle. So people love truffle, right? And especially around Christmas time, it's quite a treat. And so you can diversify the number of products that we make, and we're going to try all sorts of combinations because that's fun, right? Yeah. It keeps people entertained.
Amazing. And so I guess coming from, if you're just having it plain, or you can, right? I'm going to try it.
Yeah. And you'll notice it's got a nice acidity to it. And the idea was to try to make cheeses that are really going to match with the wines that we produce in the province with these nice high acid whites like Tidal Bay. And then you've got a cheese that goes well along with it, right? A nice high acid cheese. And honestly, try it. Little Tidal Bay, little bit of terroir, and it's golden.
Just tasting it, it's so fresh. Great acidity. It's got a nice little creaminess to it too. So perfect with just a very refreshing white. So how about what else? I mean, you did make cider for a while, so
we did.
So I assume it goes all right with some nice dry cider.
It goes very well with cider too, I'm sure.
Amazing. Yeah. So I guess the bigger question is, if people are watching, how do they find it?
Yeah, so at our website, tasteannapolis.com, you can find all the retailers where we are. We're at a lot of the smaller retailers around the province now. We've just started out. We're like 3 weeks in, right? So you can find us at Keats in Bedford and downtown Halifax, and also at Local Source and Arthur's Urban Market and these sorts of places around town. And down in the valley, of course, we're from Wolfville. Yeah. So you can find it at the Wolfville Cheese Shop and EOS and the Independent and Sterling's, Noggins, Henniger's, and around the area, right?
Amazing. So don't forget to buy local, support the sustainability of our local farmers and business people. And thank you, Sean, for coming on the show.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me.